Computer is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Computer evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Computer is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
Welcome back to eRacing GP Endurance Edition, round 4 here at Watkins Glen. If you've just joined us, of course, we had a monstrous battle for first place between Amigos Racing, Muhammad Tasbih, Russell Reyes, and Ristofani from MPRGP here. And you can see the times here. We're just about to hit our 100th lap.
Yeah, about to hit our 100th lap. An hour left to go.
Yep.
And it's pretty exciting.
Here we go here. So we're at the point right now. Muhammad Tasbih is just decimating the gap between him and Russell Reyes here. Went up to 5.5 seconds during our commercial break.
Yeah, no, he's really just doing it right now. Tasbih doing a great job. 6 seconds now in front of second position. Had that great battle where he went from third to first over a couple laps. And you can see there is Russell Reyes in the background coming through the window. So he's not out of it. Our championship leader, JMX Phantom, is not out of it. Still has a chance. And then just a little bit further back from him, we got Ristofani there in P3. And just behind Ristofani, Naqib Aslan. Okay, the guys in third and fourth don't have the pace of the front two, and I know they'll be thinking about pitting soon, try and get some fresh wets under them. But we could have a good battle for third position very soon.
Yeah, looks like it. Naqib Aslan just hiding in the shadows, biding his time, and it looks like his time might be coming out really soon, as the gap between him and Ristofani was shortened by the fact that the gap between Ristofani and Reyes has extended. So, relatively, in relativeness, the gaps between P2 and P4 have pretty much almost stayed the same.
Yeah, it's just the guys in front, Tasbih and Amigos Racing, just taking off at the front. So, good job by him, really.
Great race for him. But that is time to see. Again, if you've only just joined us, the Aslan brothers here for Stratos Motorsports had an insane strategy that almost paid off for them. Doesn't seem to be working as well as they would have hoped. What happened was, I think they short stopped just a little bit to top up some fuel before they did their driver swap, and they swapped just as the track started raining on the so as to not exceed their driving time.
Okay, well, 57 minutes to go, and it's going to get dark soon. We should see the last round of pit stops starting to appear in the next 15 minutes or so. It's definitely staying wet, so I don't think there's any chance of it drying out at the moment. So it would be a good call, I think, if you're struggling with tire wear, to start thinking about having a pit stop, because this guy, Naqib Aslan, and of course the guy in third, Ristofani, is...
there we go, just as you said it.
They were struggling with tire wear. This is a good decision by Ristofani. Come in, get some fresh wets on, and go to the end. He will have to change to his teammate, because he's already done 2 stints.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a good call by MPRGP.
So he's going to bring the Mario Haslam in as a driver swap for this very last stint. You can see the...
Also, we are having trouble with Facebook. Our Facebook page is not loading, but if you want to come watch us on YouTube or Twitch, we're having no problems with YouTube or Twitch.
It happens sometimes. Can't really do anything about that. You can see here, doing the driver change right now, that gives Nakib Aslan space to come in and take third position away.
Well, I would come in and change tires now. Nakib Aslan, if he stays out there too long, because his tires are also finished as well.
Yeah, good call.
Just come in, get the new rubber on him, and push to the end.
And he doesn't necessarily have to stay in the pits for very long. It's just the tire change. And the gap between him and P4 right now is a very substantial one.
Yeah.
So he won't lose anything if he comes in for the pits now.
No, exactly. Just nothing to lose. If he stays out, there's nothing gained, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So would make sense. Come in pit now, see what he can do with the fresh tires. Try and do the undercut, so to speak.
Yeah. And at this point, if he had fresher tires, he'll be able to narrow the gap even more between him and Russell Reyes here. So it is kind of a win-win, but we'll also have to see because the track is going to get dark. In having a dark track that's wet is kind of like a nightmare.
That will be
an
tricky.
actual nightmare.
Okay, that's Aslan. Nope, he's staying out for another lap. Obviously knows better than us. Maybe the set of wets can't last a full stint and he thinks he needs to keep going before he changes tires. Meanwhile, Hasnam is back in the car for NPRGP and he'll be very grateful to have some fresh wet tires. Yeah, he's going to be pushing on. He wants to try and get another podium. This team has had several podiums and a race win. So P3 would be great for them.
Yeah. And there is quite a tall order in front of Hasnam right now. The gap between him and Shazwan Shafiq is not very massive. However, there is a minute separating him and a podium finish. And Nakib Aslan there. You can see Lawrenson also there just behind him.
Yeah, Lawrence's pace has not been great in the wet, so 57, 53 is the whole way. I expected that to be a bit better. Tasby though, still 52.1, so those tires are really lasting well.
Yeah, this Ferrari is really showing its claws and fangs coming out into the night here. In this weather especially, it's amazing how well they've managed to keep this Ferrari under control. On the flip side, however, I think the McLarens might struggle a bit here, from what we can see in their lap times.
That is true. The McLarens have not showed the pace in the wet we normally expect them to. Obviously, the Ferrari, the car we're watching now, that's been the car to be. Tasby's showed good pace, and he's not going to stop anytime soon. He's showing great pace. To be honest, I can't see anyone closing the gap to him. 9 seconds he now has on Russell Reyes. Just needs to, and the tires are good, so he'll just keep going. He'll run the fuel down, pit one last time, put the wets on.
Yeah, so now it's just a matter of when the pit will happen. If he manages to keep this pace up all the way until he has to make his pit and the gap is substantial enough that the other racers end up pitting before he does.
Yeah. This is a big question mark though. Guy in P2, Russell Reyes, this is his last stint. He's going to come in and have to swap over to his teammate Duffer Neville. And Duffer today has not shown the usual pace he does. Hopefully he's been practicing in the wet, because he'll need some wet pace if he's going to have to hang on to P2.
Yeah, so by comparison right now, Russell Reyes is running about high 52s, low 53s in the wet. So all Nabil has to do is just try and hold that pace.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can see that Nakib Aslan again, always the looming shadow in the dark, and rings true more so now because the track is actually dark now.
Yeah. So now Hasnam in the wet, this will be the tricky thing. Can he, and that's the other problem you see, when you're driving into the dark, it's good to stay in the car. But if you have to jump into the car for the last stint and get used to dark conditions, that's very tricky. So Dafanabe will have his work cut out. But Hassan goes across the line. What lap time is that? 53.6. That's not quick enough. He needs to be in the 52s, I feel.
Giving him a bit of time, of course, to adjust to a darker track.
Yep.
And of course, when you consider the fact that you have low visibility and you have low grip, At this point, I think you will see the lap times start to be slower than what you would normally expect them to be.
That's a very good point indeed, Damon. I mean, he's also just jumped in the car, and it is pretty dark. Conditions are tricky. He'll take a couple laps to get his eye in.
I just have to see there. Tasby not letting up. He's still doing low 152s here. 152.1. Very quick lap for him. Hasn't been beaten by anyone else on the field yet.
No, great drive by Mohamed Tasby. Ahead of Hasnan right now is, of course, Shazwan Shafiq, GSR Esports car. You can see him there, he is. Had a very quiet race, GSR Esports, but done a very good, solid job. And up to 4th now. He'll pit and probably drop back to 5th. He's in a battle with Laundry House for 5th and 6th. But GSR Esports doing a good job there.
Yeah, it's quiet and unassuming, but quite just doing pretty well for themselves. We didn't even pay too much attention to them throughout this entire race because there was just so much else happening on the track.
Okay, so Naqib Aslan's going across the line. He's done a 53.5, another 53.5. Here he is. 53.5 is not great pace. I would come in and change those tires. If he wants to get on the podium, I think he's bleeding too much lap time.
Yeah, especially at this point, if you're just delaying too much, the moment you lose too much time and you can't claw it back, that's it. That's the race for you.
Yeah, look at this. Hasnam struggling there. 54.1 on the last lap. I think maybe he was lapping someone. So not great lap times from MPRGP. To be honest, when Naqib Aslan and Stratos Motorsport come in for the last pit stop, these two cars are going to be fighting very close.
Yeah.
We're going to have a great battle for 3rd position.
We've had an immense battle for 1st position, and now MPRGP is going to be in another battle. This one, they probably didn't ask for it that much, but it will happen eventually. If you can see now, Naqib Aslan coming to the pits there. That was a Rip in the Audi there. Just went in for the pits there, Veloci Ragazzo.
This will be his last pit stop of the day as well. It's not over yet. It's still a really exciting race.
Definitely. So there is going to be a battle for P4, I wager, just because of how close these two cars are, and then right after that there might be a battle for P3. So that'll be very exciting to watch.
This is the car in P3 at the moment. Naqib Aslan.
You can see that the McLaren on account of having a longer wheelbase than the Ferrari, it is a lot more likely to have less control on what the back does every time you exit a corner. You're seeing these cars, even with BOP, just some of these cars are not built the same, and it really shows. Shazwan Shafiq there into the pits now. That gives the Mario Hasnam and Lawrenson space to come past. So Hasnam is now in P4 and Lawrenson is in P5. Just over here. And he catches Aldo Balagula just as he's coming out of the pits as well. So there is some traffic there.
Yeah, Haslam's lap again at 53.3. I'd be concerned. MP RGP is not showing enough pace right now in that car number 2.
Yeah, and at this point, even if Naqib Aslan decides to take the pit, he'll still be in P4 and probably won't make up enough of a gap in order to actually contend.
Yeah, it's going to be close. That battle is going to come down to the last 10 minutes, I reckon. The battle for 3rd position.
Yeah, seems like it. But Dwyer Haslam has to really want this podium if he's going to try and make something happen. We come back to Naqib Aslan here, who is still on track. Hasn't decided to pit yet, but again, he's bleeding valuable tenths of a second to Russell Reyes here.
I think maybe the Stratos Motorsports car's given up on 1st and 2nd position and just want to make sure that they get that 3rd position. So maybe they want to have a bit more of an overlap, overcuts, so to speak. So the last half an hour of the race, they're on much better tires than the car in front.
Could be a likely scenario indeed. Of course, Mohamed Irfan just letting him through there. And as we go back to our man of the hour here, Mohamed Tasbih running in a lot of traffic right now, but still putting in very fast laps.
Yeah, still in the 52s, man. He's looking really good.
Amazing stuff coming from him, especially throughout the season. They did drop a race, which means they weren't they were pretty far down in the standings, about 5th, I think. But this race will probably make them.
Oh, that's going to put them in the championship hunt.
Yeah.
They'll definitely be in the top 3. And to be honest, we're going to go into Spa with these top 4 cars. Really separated by just a matter of a few points and everything to play for the final round.
Yeah. And Spa as the final track is, of course, fitting for round 5 of the Endurance Edition. These cars, GT3 cars, were built for tracks like Spa.
Oh, yeah. Spa.
Amazing stuff.
12-hour race as well. Sorry, 8-hour race this year. It's going to be great to watch.
I'm hoping I'll be there for probably half of it. We'll see how it goes on as time passes. But right now, our focus is on this race here at Watkins Glen. And I've personally never really seen this track being used much. But that probably is because I didn't subscribe to a lot of motorsports. And it's a really fun track to go around, I think. Let's go here. Again, the gap extending between him and Mohamed Tasbih here and Russell Reyes. Now the gap is about 12 seconds. Neither of these cars have pitted yet, so we might see a little bit of something, a bit of a position change here. That depends if, let's say, these two cars end up pitting on the same lap.
Russell Reyes there, 52.9. Still bleeding a second a lap to Mohamed Tasbih at the moment.
And now that we've gotten time to calm down for a bit after what was an immense half an hour ago, really is a good time to reflect on how this race has unfolded over the course of the past 3 hours. You can see here, if you go down to our Pro-Am class.
Well, Reyes goes to the pit.
Oh, there he goes. He finally makes it to the pit. The question is, does Nakit go for the pit? As we're about to find out as he just comes up to the final corner into the start-finish straight. Looks like the line. No, he stays out again. He's going to try and make up this position now over Russell Reyes. So now the question becomes, when do you pit? Because you're gonna have to. You've been doing 108 laps right now. I would say you pit within the next two laps at least.
Yeah, he'll have to think about pitting soon, I think. Could just be that his wet tires are fine. He's just struggling for pace.
Yeah, that's also a consideration. Maybe we're just overreacting. Maybe we just considered just thought that the tires were dead. Yeah, with Russell in the pits, the Mario Haslam could make some time up, but not enough to actually make it past Russell Reyes in the pits. So he's still going to be in 4th position. But there is a bit of a smaller gap between these two cars that the Mario Haslam could possibly try and take.
Be interesting. We should try and follow Dafa now, who's just come out of the pit lane, because his pace will be very key for JMX Phantom, and he doesn't have it easy. He's coming into wet conditions and a dark track.
There we go, Dafa Nabil on track now on his outlap. We'll just have to see how he manages to adjust to these conditions. It's really quite a difficult thing to consider as well. This is, I'm not sure if the track is still raining. The track is still wet, but I don't think it's raining now. In fact, it does look like it's going to be drying up a little bit in the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'll be drying up soon.
Look at that, Nabil. we'll have to see. So this is his outlap right now. We're going to check out his actual race laps and see whether or not he'll be on pace to keep up.
Big pressure for the Indonesian driver. They are leading the championship. If they can't win today, P2 is what they would hope as a minimum for today. And that, to be honest, P2 would be great. It would still get him to Spa leading this championship.
They'll be in a very good position for Spa later on as well. Even better, Amigos Racing Team will be in an also amazing position coming into round 5. So a lot of these drivers really have a lot to play for this final round of the Endurance Edition. Alright, here we go. This is his proper lap now. Just have to see if he manages to keep it on pace. So his co-driver, Russell Reyes, was eking out low 152s to mid 152s. So we'll just have to see. And as we say that, Mohamed Hasbi is still in the 151s, man. This guy is just blistering quick. Mario Hasnam, actually, I think he upped his pace a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Hasnam 52.6. He's obviously gotten used to the conditions now, and he's doing some good lap times.
Call to make. Nakib Aslan is 32 seconds there. After Nabil getting the back marker to give way for him.
It's been a great race today, Damon. Really enjoyed this. Some great battles at the front.
Definitely the excitement was peaking just like at the final third of the race, and we still got about 40 minutes left, so we're at a point where anything could still happen. Just have to see whether or not these drivers will take these risks. Dharma going wide to let Nabil through here. See, the gap between him and Hassan is getting a bit narrow.
Yeah, actually, Hassan's closing down that gap right now. So, I mean, okay, Dafa's not, Nabil's not flying at the moment, but it's, like we said, it can't get more difficult than this. It's wet, it's dark, you got to find your markers. He'll be braking too early, turning in too late, all sorts of stuff right now. And it'll take him a few laps to get his bearings. And to be honest, 53.8 for his first lap, that's good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll have to get even more settled in. He has breathing room. There's quite a bit of breathing room. It has to be said, right? So at this point, he could just take his time out, get to familiarize himself with the car for the last 40 minutes here. And hopefully we'll see good pace from him. In fact, I think he could be quite happy with this current position he has. P3 on the grid overall. I think that's still a pretty good spot to be in, even if it's not P2 or P1.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a net P2 at the moment because Tasbi and Nakib still haven't pitted. So, yeah, I mean, JMX Phantom still would be pretty happy with this. Further back, Hasnan Lawrenson is actually up to P5 now.
Yep.
If you see Lawrenson.
Yeah, let's go to him right now. You can see him.
There he's up to P5. I think something must have happened to the GSR car because they've dropped quite far back in P6.
Could be an issue with the driver change as well because they were in the pits. I think they were in the pits for a while.
Fahad Ghafour is now in the car. Lost a position, but they're still comfortable P6, 20 seconds ahead of P7.
There we go. I think Nakib Aslan just pitted there.
Finally, into the pit now. 37 minutes to go. Put some fresh wets into that car.
Yeah. The problem is right now is that the gap between him and Dafanabil isn't substantial enough that he still keeps P2 after this pit. So I can see Dafanabil is going to be coming out right now.
No, Nakib will drop down to P4.
Yeah.
The big question is, does he have the pace to get up into P3?
Yes.
That would be the big question. And to be honest, if he can run 52s, I'd say it's possible. Well, he'd need to run 52s because the cars in front are running 52s.
Yeah, here comes Dafanabil. Does make it past. Asnam probably doesn't actually.
Actually, Nakib is up to P3 because he's short-filled. He didn't have to pit for so long. Wow, I don't think he changed tyres. I don't think he changed tyres. He's up to P3. Look at him, and he's just behind Dafa Nabil.
So he did another he did just another refueling stop, huh?
Just another refueling stop.
Okay, okay. I can see the merits in that, but
Wow,
will
what a
his
good
tires
job.
last?
Good question. I mean, I was very concerned about stopping a bit early like we did in the stop before, you know?
Yeah.
36 minutes to go. Duh, this is going to be key. What sort of pace can he bring and to bear on the car in front? Could he actually get P2? Wow! I did not think P2 was on the card. But maybe it is.
We'll have to look at the differences in pace there. There was a yellow flag there. I wonder who was it that's
think
ended
it
up
was-
spinning out. I think it was
Yeah,
that was Dharma, yeah.
Click on it.
I think he ended up trying to give way. Oh, where did he go? Oh, just yeah.
So,
He
this
just
is-
stopped at the side of the track.
Yeah, this is the car. Oh, Nakib Aslan speeding in the pit lane. He's got a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds. Another
He was
mistake.
really excited for that. I think he really thought that he had the strategy for it and got overexcited, I'm guessing.
Bad mistake by Stratos Motorsports, and to be honest, too many mistakes.
Yeah, really put a damper on that race here. They really were in with a shout as well.
Yeah, they were. Look, they're going to stop-go 30 seconds. That's going to put him way back.
All
What
right.
a disaster.
Yeah, here comes the Mario Haas now. I think Lawrenson might actually pass him as well.
Yeah, I think Lawrence is going to get him.
Here we go. Yeah, there goes
Disaster.
Hasnam.
That's a problem with Stratos Motorsport this year. They've had too many mistakes. They've had driving issues. They've been done for contact, and now speeding the pit lane. I think this is the second or the third time they've been done for speeding the pit lane this year. So really, really not a good showing, unfortunately. And look at him. Nakib's frustrated. That was a bad mistake. He looked like he was on course with P2. He's going to finish outside the top 4 now.
Really unfortunate for Stratos Motorsports here. P4 is still okay, good position. He'll still be in front of GSR Elite. Here goes Tasmi into the pits now.
Amigos Racing Team, wow, looking really good. He's actually lapping the Stratos car at the moment. He's going to come out. One of these going to change tires.
It might be a possibility. He has been pushing that car to its absolute limits over the course of the past hour.
Nakib Aslan is just out.
Yep.
And here is Lawrenson in P4.
42 seconds between these two cars.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. But maybe Lawrenson has not pitted yet.
It's also, yeah, I think that might have been. I think that might have been the case. I think Lawrenson just got into the car and then just never pitted afterwards.
Tasby, I think he's changing tires as well.
Yep.
Makes sense. Let's not take any risks. He's got a good lead in the race. Doesn't have to take a crazy strategy.
Here comes back onto the track. Still a 20-second gap between him and Dafa Nabil. So, you know, very safe position for him to be in right now. And we go back to Dafa Nabil. His laps are actually okay. 153.3s.
Yeah, it's good enough to hold on to 10th, I think. Second, I think.
Yeah. Although there is the small possibility of the Mario Haslam catching him up before the race is done. You can see that the lap between them, 152.2 from Haslam here.
Yeah, that's definitely on the cards. It's 10 seconds behind Nabil in second position at the moment. Yeah, 32 minutes to go. Anything can happen.
I want to
Okay,
see
just
like,
sorry, just wondering, Kian, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Ah, perfect, Kian. Good to hear from you. Welcome to the commentary box, Kian Butler, sim racer from Perth.
It's good to
Say
be
hi.
back.
Yeah, good to be back. Say hi to Damon. Hope you can see the screen.
Hello.
I can see the screen. It's all there. Nice to meet you, Damon.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
So,
So,
have you been doing any sim racing, Kian? It's been a while.
I've been doing a little bit here and there. I've been quite busy the last couple of years working on last couple of months. You know, making a couple of moves in my personal life, but also just working on Formula student cars up at university, which is a great challenge. That if anyone is thinking about doing it, I reckon they should. But I'm hoping to start moving my way back in the scene now that I'm at a new place where the internet will not lead to many disconnects.
That's always an issue, isn't it, from Australia? But we'd love to have you back for the last round at Spa.
It'd be a pleasure to be there.
Yeah. So just to bring you up to speed, we half an hour left in a 4-hour race. It's been quite exciting. Have you driven Watkins Glen before?
I have. It's a lovely track. There's some really nice hard braking opportunities, such as the 90s up here. The S's are a really nice point to follow through the better run into that chicane in the back section. And like it is just one of those iconic tracks. So you end up seeing in pretty much every sim out there, even in the Forza Motorsport has it in it. And it is just a really nice flowing track with nice overtaking opportunities. A lot of the corners are banked as well, which means that especially that uphill toe corner, that one you can make a send around the outside and hold it because it has a little bit of banking that lets you have a bit more grip around the outside.
Yeah, actually we saw that I think happen. Tasby I think tried it a couple of times when he got into the race lead, shall we speak. Qualified P3, there he is right now, the purple Ferrari, leading the race quite comfortably now. The race has kind of settled down. See, there he is, third purple Ferrari. This is the heel or the toe? This is the heel, I think.
Yeah, so this will be heel coming into the two left-handers before the final right-hander to finish the lap. This is one of those corners that feels like it could be a pretty good braking opportunity, but there's such little margin in getting it quick that there are a lot of other ones that might present a better option. But you know, these corners pretty crucial if you're in a qualifying lap. It's pretty crucial if you're in the wet as well, because not only are you having to deal with the dry and line that develops as you run through the wet, but if there are cars potentially wanting to pit, they'll have to come off that dry line, and that means that they are more susceptible to mistakes. So that last corner could be an area where we see a couple of little mishaps in the last half an hour of the race.
Okay, we're riding on board with Dafa Nabil now, coming through the last corner of the lap. Let's ride on board with him for a lap, shall we?
Yeah, great opportunity. See here, you're pulling about 230, 250 kilometers an hour, braking around the 200 meter board, switching all the way down a second in the wet here, taking a nice bit of the apex curve, running it all the way outside. You can take up to that yellow line. Through the S's now. Very nice flowing section. Both corners, or the first one a bit more camber, the second one, if you end up on the outside, can be a little bit off camber, which means that you really don't stick to the racing line to get the most out of it. Down this back straight, the back straight, coming into around 300 meters is where you're braking. Still trying to take as much curve as you can. Keep the line nice and left, because that's going to open up this right-hander here down the outer loop into the chute, the left-hander. There'll be a wall that breaks off on the right-hand side. You can only use that as your braking mark. Might be a little bit late in the drive, but you can see in this section especially just how pronounced that dry line is. You can see that the reflections of the wet either side. Around 150 meters of braking. This is that cambered toe. It is a really good opportunity corner, but it goes on a little bit longer than you might expect or might feel, because it does tighten up or open up a little bit towards the outside of that corner. Down the boot into the heel. And again, this is a corner that has a little bit of camber on the inside, but falls off very quickly as you go out. So if you're trying to make a move, it doesn't always work. A little bit of a crest into this left-hander, which means that you can misjudge it and lose a little bit of grip, a little bit of downforce as you come over the top into this left-hander. Normally, it's just a little bit of a lift. It can be a brake, a little bit of a tap of the brakes in the wet. And into this right-hander now, you see the dry line kind of cuts in and cuts out of the pit entry. That is on board with JMX Phantom, Dafa Nabil for a lap of Watkins Glen.
Thanks very much, mate. That was Kian Butler, who is actually going to be joining us to the end of the race. Have a big thank you to Damon, who's been with us for the couple hours now. Been a very exciting race. But Kian, you're back with us. It's in the dark now. Not much to see when it gets dark towards the last half an hour here. Quite a few of these drivers just jumping in straight away into these wet, dark conditions. How tough can that be?
It can be really tough because you tend to do a lot of your practice in the dry. Your setups are built around the dry, especially if you're coming from a dry qualifying session. So it's a lot easier if you're the driver who falls into the wet track, who the track slowly wets around, because you get the opportunity to start pushing your braking markers as you need, start pulling them back, to adjust your lines. If you've only done dry practice, there's normally two things that happen. You jump in, you're off the pace because you're taking it super conservative, because you're not quite sure where those markers are yet. The other thing that does happen quite a bit is you do well for the first half of your lap, and then you end up somewhere deep because you get a little bit over ambitious. So I feel like if you're one of those drivers that are jumping in and for the first time in the lead up to the race jumping in the wet, you could struggle, even more so at nighttime because you can't see so many of those braking markers, and you do get a lot more isolated in your visual references.
Okay, thank you. And a bit of a disaster, we've lost Laundry House. I do not see Laundry House, a fellow Australian team, is missing at the moment. Must have disconnect maybe.
That's Australian internet for you right there. That is mega unfortunate in the last half an hour of the race to get so far. But yeah, they do seem to be gone. I know they were doing quite well. That does give a little bit of reprieve to Nakib, who did have that stop and go penalty for speeding.
Yeah.
That is going to be a position that will not be as hardly fought then, as Lawrenson did end up overtaking after that stop and go. So now it's going to be down to Nakib to try and push up the P3. That might be a bit of a margin to push in the last half an hour, but it's always there to play for.
Yep, absolutely. There is Nakib. He's P4. You're absolutely right. That stop-go penalty just murdered them. He's 50 seconds behind the guy in 3. So I think P4 is as good as it's going to get. But again, a bit fortunate. It's such a shame to have lost Laundry House right at the end of the race as well. It's such a... Gosh, it's got to hurt.
Yeah, I think if it's me, I'd prefer to have a disconnect happen towards the start of the race, because otherwise you're 3 hours in. You've had all your teammates. You're there to finish it off, and then it all goes to bust. It makes it feel like it's all for naught.
Yeah, devastating, really. The guy in the Pro-Am class, now P7 overall. Mohammed Aslar's back in the car. Apex Racing Brunei. Wow, they've done a really good job with Mercedes very quickly. Very quick indeed. But I think we do have a good race for P2, Kian, because Hasnam here in NPRGP is closing the gap to Dafa Nabil from JMX Racing in P2. Only 7 seconds behind.
That's going to be a tight one. 7 seconds, that can very easily fall away in the wet. One little mistake. And then there's the other thing that, some cars, the balance can suit a wet drive a little bit better. So normally if a car has a little bit of oversteer balance, that will exaggerate in the wet. But if it has a little bit of an understeer balance in the dry, then that will even out to a bit more of a neutral and potentially oversteering balance. So that means that some of these cars that might be a little bit more oversteer in the dry will be a lot more at home in the wet. Now, I'm not saying that's something that we're seeing here, but what we are seeing is a car that is making ground, and the driver is comfortable, he's at one with the vehicle, and it could very well come down to the last couple of laps.
It is drying out as well. Mohammed Tasbi there just did a 50.7, so he's definitely getting faster in the wet. Dafa Nabil, 51.8, managed to equal the same lap time as Hasnam on that last lap, so it seems to have stabilized at 7 seconds. But I don't think Hasnam's given up. I think he still thinks he can get that second position.
The moment that blood is in the water, the sharks will circle. And Hasnam does have that predator mindset right now. He is just all you can do in the race is really do the best you can. But right now, he feels the best he can do is P2. And it's going to be up to Nabil to try and countermand that.
It's quite interesting, though, because, sometimes you get to this stage of the race, you're not fighting for anything. You think, oh, okay, I just back it off and bring it home. But it's also something just to push to the very last corner of the last lap of the race, to challenge yourself there. You can just hang it all out and go right to the end.
Yeah, and if it's one of those situations where you have a car that is 7 seconds behind, then you might end up, not wanting to back off as such, but you're not going to push yourself into any mistakes. Like you said, Nakib is 50 seconds behind Hasnam. So that means that even if Hasnam does make a little bit of mistake pushing too hard, he's got a bit of a buffer margin to nurse that car home if something goes terribly wrong.
Absolutely. Oh, and he has closed that. Last lap of 51.2 from Hasnam. Took out 9/10 of Dafa Nabil. So, it's not over.
Yeah, closing up. It is something to behold these cars at night, driving through this track. We're on board with Daryl Brady in the Porsche. He's looking to make a move on Hasano. Now, the number 82 McLaren driver goes to the inside. He's going to be on the wet a little bit there. Around the outside, this looks like a potential opportunity here into the left-hander. This is that tight one that we're talking about that goes slightly off camber. And Hasano is going to stick it on the apex, get the drive into the last couple corners. Law behind is not in this battle, so it is just between these two here. Brady still on the tail of Hasano, and he's looking maybe for the move up the inside. Oh, it's dangerous though. It's on the wet line. Noses across does Hasano, and as they cross the start finish line, Hasano maintains his position in P13. This battle could keep going for a little while. Will we see Daryl Brady try a little move up the inside? No, it looks like he's just going to try and pressure the driver ahead into a mistake, and it could potentially be the case here. A little bit of an up and under. It's going to be 2 by 2 into the S's. Up the inside goes Daryl Brady. That looks like the move secured for now. He's going to have a better run down the back straight, but we'll have to see if Hasano can battle that one back.
Wow, great move there by Brady. He's always in the Porsche, and nice to see. But yeah, no, takes a position back. Now Brady up to 13th overall.
That Porsche will be pretty good in the wet because you'll have all your weight over that rear axle. So that means that where some of the others, front engine cars, mid engine cars, where they might struggle for a bit of a little bit of traction on corner exit, you might see the Porsche here do a lot better on there. So I think that did actually show that a little bit, that we saw better exit from the 90 by Brady, and that really did open up that opportunity for him.
Yeah. I've seen you in a few races. You tend to like the Porsche as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do like the Porsche. It's just always been one of my favorite cars to drive in most of the games, and I think that does stem a little bit to the natural balance of the car being a bit more understeery. So it means that you can push the tuning a little bit more towards oversteer, which generally means that you can make the car a bit quicker. But it means then as well that as the grip dissipates and as your mechanical grip on the tires dissipates, that balance does shift a little bit rearwards again. So that is something that happens in the wet here, where you're losing a bit of tire grip, so your tuning effects are not going to be as pronounced. For example, if you soften the front rear, you might get more dive, which means you get a bit more oversteer on corner entry, but you're not going to be braking as hard in the wet, so you're going to get a little bit less of that. So I think the fact that it shifts a little bit back towards an understeer balance in the wet is potentially helping Brady here.
Yeah, he's pulling away now. In fact, there's another car going with him. I think that's Law. Law's a lap down, I think. Oh, we got a drive-through. Drive-through for the car in 16th position. Affianto, another one of the entries from NPR GP. Drive-through. I think for collision, we'll have to check the protest channel.
Yeah, that's that could be, because he's a little bit by himself right now. That could be a situation of a little bit of a collision between lap traffic. You never know. One of the big things in endurance racing is being able to navigate lap traffic, and some people maybe come off a bit forceful when they're doing that. For me, it's always a case of I'm expecting the other driver to not move out of my way. So if they're on the racing line, they're going to stay on the racing line. The only difference might be if you're on the inside in the corner, then they're obviously not going to turn into you. But navigating that lap traffic, especially in these stages where most of the traffic you will come across will be different classes or different cars, different speeds, that is going to be one of the deciding factors in the final stages of this race for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. 17 minutes to go. Been an exciting race, although it's definitely settled down now. It is starting to dry up, interestingly enough. Could make it a bit tricky the last 5 minutes. But we have to go back to that battle for second position. The battle for the lead, I think, is done and dusted. Mohammad Tasbi has almost half a minute over this driver, Dafa Nabil in JMX Phantom. But he's maintaining that gap for the guy in third position. Only 6 seconds between Nabil and Hasnam in third position. But Dafa doing just enough to hold on to second for now.
Yeah, it's good stuff there from Hasnan. The two BMW drivers will be in relatively equal machinery. It'll come down to the skill of the individual in the closing stages of this race. And right now, this is one of those situations like Alex was saying, like he was saying, where it is drying up, and this is where the adaptability of the driver comes to play. How well can a driver read the track in front of them, it being different than the time that came through before, adjust their braking marker and maximize their car.
Yeah.
And so far, it seems like Hasnan has been doing a little bit better of a job, and that's why he's being able to inch away at that lead that Nabil has right now.
Yeah, I have to say Hasanam also doing a good job because he can see Dafa now. Down the length of the start-finish straight, he can actually see the lights of the car in front. And you can see him just because he goes through the chicane. That's going to incentivize him as well. 15 minutes ago, 16 minutes ago. Yeah, still possible.
Yeah, there's a term that has been used a couple of times when a driver is sticky. You know, you as soon as you can see the back of somebody, you gain a couple of attempts because there is that incentive. There is that realization that they're there. I can see them. I can almost touch them. I'm gonna stick to their back. I'm not gonna let them get away from me this time. And he's gaining all the time. You can see him there in the same shot. I think that's the first time so far in a little while that we've seen them in the same shot. And it's really gonna incentivize him.
Yeah. And in fact, he's on a good lap now. He's closing the gap just a little bit more, 6.0 seconds right now. So yeah, he's pushing indeed. You go look a little bit further up, and you can see there is our guy in second position. Now Bill's just managed to get a back marker between him and Hasnam, so that'll be good. He'll hope the back marker will slow him down as well.
Yeah, you can see the white car is gonna stick between them. What's gonna be the hope on the Bill is that Hazanan will close up on him, potentially in that inner loop chicane, in a set of corners where he can't easily move out the way, and that's gonna give the opportunity then to Nabil to pull a couple of seconds again. That comes down to navigating that traffic once more. It looks like it's a decent racer. Like that, Hazik is in P9 in that Ferrari, so that just goes to show that top 8, that top 7, kind of, you know, in their own little situation here. Fazby even was pretty much lapping Aslan when they were in the pits. So there is a spread between a lot of the drivers, but their own little groups are forming up here.
Yeah. And, you know, I have to say Dafa's pace is pretty good. I mean, he's lost a bit more time. It's only 5.7 seconds now between him and Hasnam in third, but I think he's got just enough pace to hang on to that, you know, 13 minutes to go now.
What could be interesting is, like you were saying, it is drying up. So will we see drivers try and stick it out on their wet weather conditioned tires? Or are they going to try and pit and hope that they can make up the lap time? Or make up the loss in lap time?
It's still spitting with rain a bit, but I think it's going to actually stop raining in about 5 minutes. But with only 13 minutes to go, I don't think it'll be dry enough. I think people just will stick with the wet tires and manage somehow. It won't be worth the pit stop delta to put the slicks on. But you know, when it dries up like that, you can start pushing a bit harder, right? And if a driver can find a little bit of room, a little bit of track no one's using, you can start finding that lap time.
Yeah, you can see some of these drivers taking it all the way to the outside wall on the final corner. They're using all the curb here, and through the S's, they're bringing it right to those apexes. So drivers are, as is usual, looking for every little thousandth of a second that they can optimize their lap. And some of these drivers doing a better job of that than others, but all of them doing their best.
Yep. Nabil actually on the last lap did a 50.7. Hasnam did a 50.2. So now he's 5.5 seconds off him. But yeah, running out of laps.
Running out of laps. Each lap taking just under 2 minutes. So we could see it probably about another 6 or 7 here. Gaining half a second a lap. That's maybe not going to do it. But there is always that opportunity for a mistake. So it's going to be down to whether JMX Phantom's car at the hands of Duff and Bill, the number 1 driver, can keep it out of the grass, keep it out of the wall.
Let's have a look at our leader right now, Mohamed Tasbi, in Amigos Racing Team. He's actually still the fastest car on track, even though he's got a nice healthy lead, 31 seconds. He's consistently in the 50s. 49.5 actually in the last lap. Wow, 49.5, way quicker than anyone else. No one's within a second of the Ferrari at the moment, as far as fast laps go. So this is going to turn into a really comfortable victory. Wow, well done to the Singaporeans.
Yeah, that Ferrari is looking rapid, and it is really setting the pace out there. It is by itself as well. Basby doing a great job, like you said. It is a situation now of bringing the car home. You've got the margin. Try not to get tangled up with any of the back markers, as there are a whole gaggle of them ahead of him right now. Lord Brady and Malik all ahead of him. But yeah, Fasby will be pretty happy with his performance, and will be wanting to bring us home in P1.
Getting through the back markers right now. There's Dafa Nabil, 31 seconds down, and Hasnam there, 5.3 seconds down. Let's ride on board with him a second for a while, see how he's doing. You can see the blue steel car just ahead of him. That car's been in the walls here. We saw it quite a few times. Spun off at the chicane, came back on the track and took out another car. It was dreadful to watch. So it's been repaired, but it hasn't got the pace as you come to the last couple stints.
Yeah, and some of that will be down to the car not being back to optimum condition. Some of that will be down to the driver's confidence not being back to the optimum condition. It's always difficult in these endurance races to deal with a spin, with a crash, and try and recompose. I know that a little bit too much from experience in the past, but yeah, it is all down to how quickly you can get yourself back up the pace. And I'm sure there's an element of consolidation in the Blue Steel Cars race right now. Doesn't seem to be anyone too close to them, so just trying to bring the car home.
Just see
how much wall is.
Yeah, he gets so close. He's pushing her. You can just look into turn 1 right now. You can see Duff and Nabil just turning in. Oh, gone through, in fact.
You can see how deep that braking marker has gone. It was about 200 before. He's braking around the 150 mark now, using all of that curve. So that's something that you might see a bit difference between some of the drivers. Some of them will be keeping it a bit tighter in fear of the curb spinning them back out in these wet conditions. Other drivers will be looking for every little advantage, and taking a wider line means you can carry more speed through the track. Now it looks like he's jumping off of the dry line, because that is a very dry line now. In fact, it's kind of switched from being a dry line to a dry track in places, but he switched off the line there to try and get a little bit of water on his tires to cool them down.
Yeah, it looks, like you said, looking very dry. Luckily, it's cool conditions. But look, he's just tantalizing, right? You can see the car in P2 just in front of him. Oh, I bet he wish he had another half an hour to this race.
Yeah, it's closing, but Bill doing all that he has to right now to hold on to P2. The podium position is nothing to frown at, but P2 is more points than P1.
Yeah, it's going to be very close. I can't wait for when we work out the championship permutations, because of course there's a drop round, one more round to go after this, and everyone has to drop the lowest score before that round, and I actually think it's going to be dead close. I think we might have 4 teams within like 10 points of each other, which means Spa is going to be epic.
Spa is one of those tracks that lends itself really well to racing, to overtakes, to different lines. It's torrential conditions, sunny days. That is going to be around to watch. It'll be splendid to see all these different cars, all these different drivers come back to the grid one more time and try and cap off their season on the high.
8-hour race, of course. We've done 12-hour races in the past, but I think 8-hour race is pretty much a nice balance. Still really get to see the race play out over a full day. But yeah, I don't know if we'll end in the night time next time. Maybe we'll keep the time at ×1 instead of ×2. But yeah. Okay, so Hasnan now 4.6 seconds behind Dafa Nabil. Again, 6 minutes to go. He's not closing down fast enough, and I think it's going to be very tricky indeed. We'll go out now and have a look, see who else is there. The other car I want to talk about really is this car, Apex Racing Brunei. The only Merc on the grid, I think. You know, this Pro-Am car actually qualified P3. P3 overall, really, really good lap. And he's a driver that's new to ACC, only been doing it for a year, so super pleased for them to, you know, make such a big jump in performance.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. I feel like at the end of your first year in a new game or new sim is when you can really start trying to push up to some of the big dogs. You know, the biggest thing for new drivers, building that consistency, making sure that you can put yourself within a tenth of your lap every lap. In these conditions, not so much, because they're always changing. They're always improving at this point in the race. But you do want to be close. You want to be close to your optimum as much as possible, and that's something that maybe is a little bit harder to find amongst the Pro-Am drivers, just by merit of being in that category. But I think we're seeing a really strong showing from this Mercedes today.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, back in second position in Pro-Am. Java Sim Alpha Vantage, they are be happy there at P2. Passionate Racing in P3. Team Techno, who are actually leading the Pro-Am Championship, are in P4. They may lose the championship lead now because I think Brunei are going to go into the championship lead heading to Spa after this round. Obviously, you have to check out how it all pans out after the drop round scores. But Team Techno will be very happy with P4. But I mean, one more round to go, plenty to bounce back. Back at the front, Hasnam now 4.7 seconds off Dafa Nabil in JMX Racing. I don't think he's going to catch him. I think even when you look at the onboard camera right now, that car's not really in shot right now. So, you know, just kind of in shot as they go around corners and stuff. But I think that's it. The top three have kind of shaped out right now. MPR GP could be very proud of their result. Some really interesting strategies to get them up to P3. Despite being pushed into a half spin by the leaders. And talking about the leader, there he is, Mohamed Tasbi.
There he is, Mohamed Tasbi. Amigos Racing Team,
Yeah.
number 44.
Great name.
Doing a great job.
Yeah. We'll actually put him onto the Zoom so we can have a look at it. He's smiling, he's chatting to his teammate. I think his teammate might be asleep. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning in the States, so I think Alif, I'd be very surprised if Alif's awake. But been a great drive by this driver pairing.
Yeah, you can see in the background the poster of the Singapore Grand Prix track.
Yeah,
with
Singapore.
with Lewis Hamilton there. It's definitely not a coincidence that they're running number 44 on that car.
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely it's funny how that hairstyle is very hairstyle on the shades is very obviously Lewis Hamilton. I wonder who the other guy is supposed to be.
Oh, that's a good question. You know, he doesn't have as obvious a hairstyle as Lewis, does he?
We'll have to ask Tasby.
Might have to do. It'll depend on the year, won't it? If it's like a 2018, 2019 print, it could be someone like Vettel or Leclerc. Could be Kimi. I don't know. It's a lovely photo. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Okay, 2.5 minutes to go. That would be what? 2 laps?
2 laps.
Yeah, 2 more laps to go. So it goes through turn 1.
That's up for the S's once again. He looks so in control, doesn't he? It doesn't even look like he's driving. It looks like he's just sitting down right now, playing a game of whatever the kids are playing these days, Fortnite, PUBG.
Kids, you're still a kid.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on. He only really in some of these corners, like the inner loop there, where you see him starting to fight the wheel a little bit, is where you notice, hey, this driver's doing a bit of work, and he's doing such a great job. I think it is a testament to his driving style, how smooth he looks in the chair. He's looking at the photo right now. I think a teammate might be saying that we're talking about who the second driver is. Just how smooth he looks in the chair is a testament to how smooth his driving style actually is.
Oh, Vladdy Malik from MPRGP is coming for a last splash and dash, looks like, or maybe some sort of penalty. A few cars with stop-go penalties as well for penalties, driving standard problems. Oh dear. Okay, well they'll have to serve those penalties as well.
Yeah, Lau and Yang Ming, in 18th and 19th respectively, both have stop-and-go penalties, a 20-second and a 10-second, again respectively. But here's someone who doesn't have a stop-go penalty, and he will be going and going until the stop, which will be at the end of this lap. We're heading white flag, last lap. Here comes Mohammed Fazli from Amigos Racing Team, and he is going to take it nice and easy.
Yeah, well,
Take it nice around the track.
I think he's
bring it home in P1.
I think he's got his good friend in front, fellow teammates before, Naqib Aslan. I think he's going to try and lap him. I think Stratos Motorsport trying to make it to the line with those worn wets. They were double stinting their wets, and that hasn't worked out. Hasn't had the pace in this last stint. And it's very possible Tasby might lap him before the end.
Yeah, to be fair, if he does end up lapping him, that would mean that he doesn't have to do one more lap on those tires. So maybe that would be a slight blessing. You can see just how much more grip Fasby has through the outer loop as Aslan maintains the racing line. Not getting out the way, blue flags are flying. But last lap, it's a fair game. The look could be a move around the outside, lights flashing from Fasby. Move back up the inside, cuts across from Aslan. These guys are racing as if it was the position right now. The 111 in the pro category, currently sitting P4, McLaren ahead. Green and black. He goes defensive, or is he making way? That's the real question. It looks like he's gone defensive, as up the inside, Aslan holds the apex. Fasby's looking for the switchback. He's going to get a slightly better run, but he's going to have to try and look for the switchback once more through the tight left-hander. Oh, can you do it? This corner does seem to go on for so long when you're trying to make a move. He's still right on the tail. He's trying to lap Naqib Aslan, but I don't think it's going to happen. As we come through the penultimate corner, and now the final corner, Mohammed Fasby and Amigo Racing's team will come across the line to win the eRGP Endurance Edition at Watkins Glen.
Well done, Tasby and Amigos Racing. Fantastic result. Comes in first position, first win of the year. Dafu Nabil there is going to hold on to second position for JMX Racing, JMX Phantom. And you can see there, P3, Hasnan there for MPRGP comes in P3. So great job for them. Nabil Hassan fourth. And of course, we have Azhar here in the Pro-Am category is going to come in and win. Well done to him. But we'll come back and have a quick chat with Mohammed Tasby. See if we can have a quick chat with Tasby, see how he's doing. Because we'd love to hear from him. So, see if we can talk to Tasby as he suddenly panics. Congratulations, what a great race.
Yeah, it was a fun race.
Wow, I mean, the pace you guys had on the wet, you know, the comeback, you didn't qualify very well. Talk us through your day.
I think, no, we just set up the car a bit more for a wet setup. So I'll be honest, that was a wet setup. So we were running like 3 hours of the race on dries, but the pace was quite good on the dry, surprisingly. So when it became to wet, and I think Alif knew that I was quicker on the wets. I've been practicing on the wets. I know how to push the car in the wet. So when it was going to wets, I think I had a smile on my face if you didn't see, but yeah, I was happy.
Yeah, we were watching. I think a lot of people were really happy that when it started raining. So, I mean, it was a really, really good race. We really enjoyed watching. That puts you in quite good for the championship as well, doesn't it?
This week, only on Tuesday, I just gave him a message like, do you want to drive? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I was happy to have him. You know, he's such a quick driver and easy to work with. So it was happy for me, happy for him, and the car was fantastic.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Tasby, on the win. We'll see you at Spa in, what, a month?
Yeah, in a month.
Congratulations.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so that's eRacing GP done and dusted, round 4 of 5. I just want a quick thank you to Kian Butler. Kian, what did you think about the race? I think actually we've just missed you right now, mate. So thanks very much for driving with us and for being with us. This is eRacing GP. Great to have you, and we will see you again next time. Don't forget, round 5 is next month, and of course we've got Global Edition 13 starting next week as well. So till then, take care and goodbye.